Well, good morning. Make sure I get all this crap off here. Here we go. Hope everyone's doing well today. The topic that I've been called to speak on today is a basic and important topic in spiritual and world self development. And this is about healing the familial mother line. Um, we all know that the world is based upon a patriarchy, and there's reasons for that. Whether one not likes it or not, or regardless of their viewpoint, it really does not matter. Um, what's important is Tigger. Tigger is more important than everyone who exists, and don't forget it. She's driving me up the wall this morning. Hopefully, she'll give us a little bit of peace. No, so the masculine aspect had to be built up on the planet because the feminine aspect is so well grounded. Um, it has power regardless of its evolution. Of course, there's different issues that have came up in the development of the masculine spirit and aspect on this planet um, that have, and they've had the latter this effect. Masculine has more power than feminine and masculine, and how and why and what more power looks like is very tricky. Like for instance, saying, "Sure, now we make marriage legal. Oh, but if you divorce, she gets the money. But what? We both made the kid, kind of thing." And having to be like, okay, so where did we have to place who has any power? Who gets the power and why? It's very challenging. But they must have found a bird to talk to instead of us. Yeah. So, um, so now in our time, it's about coming full circle and healing the familial mother line. Um, aspects of the, the aspects that have been a detriment that have to be healed from the feminine aspect, whether it's through men or it's through women, it really doesn't matter. But these certain aspects of femininity. Well, so thinking about the universal mother, she's the ultimate wisdom, and she's also the ultimate blindfolder. She's the ultimate glutton, and she's the ultimate neglector. And those four aspects are pretty much the pillars of the ultimate deity. And of course, there's great benefits in them, in those aspects. And at the same time, though, these aspects have caused a lot of negativity upon humankind. Um, this aspect that, well, which can be looked at as masculine, either way. But for one, this concept of neglect, where, well, if you keep helping him up every time, if you coddle him all the time, how is he ever going to learn? That's why the universe teaches us by going, what stroller? What mom? I can do whatever I want. Might as well start finger painting with my poop on the walls. Let's see if this tastes good. Magic mushrooms. Mom must really like us. She left us some crazy stuff in the front yard and poop. Then we have the aspect of over, over love, over abundance isn't the right word, almost smothering, where the universe, we ask for something, we're like, yeah, let's just pick an easy one for guys. Yeah, I want girls. Yeah, I want girls. Okay, well, you can only have one at a time, and that's gonna not work out so good if you don't work within those kind of boundaries. But if you want girls, well, okay, so you got all these girls. Now what are you gonna do? You wanted drugs. Okay, well, boom, here's a brick. What are you gonna do? Oh, you wanted to work. You wanted to work, did you? Oh, we got work for you. We got work for you. You want money? We got lots of money. But, what are you gonna do with this money? Because more money you got, more problems you got. So this is the aspect of overabundance where mother, and you could see it as, oh well, he's 12. He wanted to smoke. I wasn't gonna be able to stop him. What's it gonna? He's just gonna take to the streets and do whatever he wants. Otherwise, we might as well start buying his ass some cigarettes and keep him around a little bit longer. He's gonna be He's apparently a grown man already. Might as well keep him happy and keep him around. Otherwise, he's just gonna take off and be like, "I hate you guys. I'd rather walk him out for my cigarettes." And so there's this smothering aspect of the mother that gives into easily, equal with the neglect principle that withholds everything in order to make you stronger, or gives you everything you ever wanted and then some to make you stronger. Um, those are the main two aspects: this smothering and this neglect. But it carries over into some other personified kind of aspects that we can attribute to um, the format that of, say, um, Sekhmet, or say Kali Ma, of the mother, the divine wife that kills everybody. But it's in karmic retribution. And I myself, seeing this in women in my family and in other families, male friends that I've had and how their mothers raised them, and learning how their grandmothers raised their parents and such, and how the female aspect has been, you know, in a lot of situations has been made to be meek. And so then having to duck its head all the time and take the black eyes and go start scrubbing on that stove with a toothbrush. Take her. I'll solve this. It probably won't work. Nothing does. I can't get 1 minute of peace no matter where I go. Not even mind space. Talk about Collie. Okay. Where was it? So then there's this concept of holding everything in, and almost this assassin-like quality of waiting till the motherfucker's asleep. She can put an ice pick through his eye. For all those black eyes he gave you, just that one situation. It's just perfect. You saw the news, hey, somebody's breaking into houses, stabbing people with ice picks, and that night you just got the perfect setup. You do the reverse. You stab him in the eye. Then you go down, kick the door open from the outside, and you call the police, or whatever the case, or more insidious sorts of ways that this negative aspect of femininity is this shadow force that wants to pick at everybody because of all the ills that have been done to them that could be conceived. And so then there's this idea of karmic retribution rather than love. So uncaring is a negative aspect of this familial mother line they were healing, which is the neglect principle. Then there's the attacking principle, which also, for instance, like how a man can get upset in an argument or whatever, but you can better not lay hands on her. A woman gets upset in an argument, she can hit you all she wants, and she can say that you provoked her, and you still might go to jail. That doesn't seem right, right? So there's this attacking principle, having this belief of protection, of divine protection because of gender. And that's not a good aspect or look neither. That really brings down women whenever that comes up, no matter when, where, or how. Then, of course, there's possessiveness. This is my child, my home, my stuff, my wounds. And then there's withholding, the neglect principle of, well, if I go have sex with him for 3, 4 more days, he'll get into his head what I'm pissed off about. And there's thousands of forms of how that could look. There's absent, which is like the universal mother and how it appears she's never here. Where is God? Right? Everybody thinks it's he. There you go, he. He's the one on the inside that thinks it has a name. That's the ego. I am Josh. You are. That's who he is. There you know he. When it comes down to divine principle. And then there's the wounded, which wounded is like a smothering neglect principle, right? It's kind of a conglomerate of both, where that is both a masculine stance from feminine principle. Somebody that acts like a victim or acts hurt for benefit is a predator. Right. So, this, and when it comes down to the healing journey through spirituality, this full aspect of the divine feminine, the highest source of knowledge in the universe, has these principles that have to be dealt with by every single individual, regardless of whether you had good parents or not. It doesn't matter. So, I said I was going to do an I Ching reading. We're going to start today and see what she has to say about what we've been talking about her. See if she can give us any love and guidance today. You know what? First, I'd like to pull a divine feminine card and see which divine aspect of hers wants to be called forth to do this reading. Knowing which aspects I've stated clearly and aloud already. couple more shuffles. Make sure she's good and confused, right? Just the less she knows, the better off we are. Or is it the less we know, the better off somebody is? Good question. All right. Who do you have for us? Ooh. We don't get her very often. We got Joan of Arc to lead our way. Carrying her banner with the light over her head. The warrior of the light. The warrior of light. I have a steel-like faith in myself. The angels armor me with conviction. Very beautiful. See? Now she's out there stirring up the whole house, trying to get into all the covers and still complaining. They miss her old house, her old routine, in her own space, in her own porch, with her own plants. So they could go outside and know what's happening and have more than one window. Let's see what we got. I started using 2 sets that way, unless there's changing lines. I only have to throw them 3 times instead of 6. The very first time I ever did this, I remember very specifically, I think it was 2 Decembers ago. I sat in the bed and one set in India or in Chinese coins. They're gold, brass, gold color. And I have these silver ones from India. And threw them down, 7-7. Threw them down, 7-7. Threw them down, 7-7. The very first time. Let's see what we got here. I believe this is water on water. Don't tell me. We got Aquarius by chance. And we do have water on water. I've only had this one other time, and I called it that day as I was within a couple weeks of waking up. If you want to call it that. We're at number 29. Our guidance for 29. Oh man, this is like the worst one. This is the worst one. So this is maybe she's echoing back from base and giving us some advice. Let's look at this differently than maybe I've seen it as a personal reading in the past. It's called Constant Pitfalls. This is like the one that you get when you break a mirror. Or this is like the 3 of Swords. in the tarot deck. This is like the worst one. At least we got Joan of Arc with us. When there are constant pitfalls, if it has sincerity, the thinking mind gets through successfully, and the activity has value. Constant pitfalls means a series of dangerous straits. God dang, when are these things ever going to end? Holy crap. uh, as water flows without filling, go through dangerous straits without losing your faith. The thinking mind gets through successfully by using firmness and balance, or firmness in balance. Activity has value in the sense that something worthwhile is accomplished by the undertaking. The danger of the sky is that we cannot climb up into it. The danger of earth is in the mountains, rivers, and hills. Rulers set up dangers to guard their countries. The timely use of danger is very important. Water coming repeatedly symbolizes constant pitfalls. Culture people learn to teach by constant application of virtue. Right. Then some of the advice that it gives along the way here. Since most things are double repeated, this phrase two different ways. I'll try to just slightly clip it without taking anything out. Going into a pit when there are constant pitfalls is the bad luck of losing the way. Right, but there's no such thing as a pit and there's no such thing as falling. If what you're going for is on the other side, it does not matter as long as you keep your eye on the prize and you get there. Then it doesn't matter what you got to climb over or climb under or what you have to do to get there. Walk on water. Seek and you gain a little, insofar as you have not gone beyond the mean. Coming and going, pitfall after pitfall, blocked in dangerous straits. One goes into a hole in a pit. Do not do this. This means winding up, never having accomplished anything. Right. Which one thing I can equate this to is addiction. Though we can learn a lot from addiction, through it from our own addictions and from seeing others go through it. That is not to say lessons of all kinds aren't learned through this. And what gets even more confusing is when somebody is actually being guided by the Holy Spirit, when they're getting their downloads through intoxication and the Divine Mother is in control. And that person is both in most cases, a danger to themselves and everyone else. At the same time, they're the one that God's protecting and trying to raise. And that is one of the reasons why the world has been made, so that those that are awakening for whatever spell or whatever thing that you want to look at it is that how those that are awakening, automatically the subconscious of others, the higher self of others, pushes them away and gathers together separately, weirdly, in this opposition mode. So everyone wakes up alone who truly awakens. And so, coming back to that, so falling for something, a substance, especially once you know you're going to get some insight out of it, you better have something you come up with each time. Otherwise, it's just a waste. Why run into it just to get wasted? If you're going to use a nuke, you might as well nuke a good target, meaning yourself, and you better have some data after the explosion each time, right? But eventually, all things, you know, when we put away childish things, right? Eventually. Um, Going along well with the next line. A jug of wine is accompanied by a ceremonial grain vessel. Use a plain cup. Or your Dixie red cup. Having privately made a pledge through a window. In the end, there's no blame. Right. If you're not glorifying, if so, this has to do with the humbleness of the spirit. You can't be treating it like let's just use the example like, oh, I got my rock, oh, this is my divine power, this is the, I gotta have the best apparatus to use it from. Well, see, this is funny because this is how people do weed all the time. So they're honoring the ego rather than honoring the act, not using it in a sacred method, to keep it simple, to keep it basic. And also, if you're going to use it, it's best to use, just like Terence McKenna said, once a week in a spiritual space where you clear the day. You get all your shit done first, like you're getting ready to go to work in reverse. And then you don't need much. Smoke a joint, smoke one bowl. Just like you'd smoke a cigarette. You do it. And then you go in your space and you do your work. That's the right way to do it. If there was a right way, that is the only right way. You should not glorify the act or the substance. And we need to prepare each time best we can for divine communication if we're going to use methods of that nature. The jug of wine and the ceremonial grain vessel symbolize the meeting point of the firm and the flexible. The pit is not completely fulfilled. That's not what it says. The pit is not filled completely. If it is leveled, there's no problem. The pit not being fulfilled means not yet being great within. That's about getting one's light. And being great means having abandoned oneself far enough that you got to see your image in heaven and see who's behind the mask within all of us. So you can start the great work, even though how much great work did you need to put in before you got there? As much as you could get in a lifetime, whether you woke at 20 or you woke at 60. Bound with rope and put into a briar patch, you are helpless for 3 years. Bad luck. The bad luck of losing the way through weakness at the top lasts for 3 years. But 3 years, that could be a metaphor. So that's what she gives us there. Joan of Arc is guiding us through our constant pitfalls. As we're talking about healing the divine familial mother line. One moment. That was 29. All right. Let's pull a couple of tarot cards on this. It's no easier for the masculine or the feminine aspect to deal with this. The King of Cups threw itself out with a bunch of other cards I wasn't going to read. It was in reverse, if you must know. Now, it's interesting at 3151 that through watching others, I've found that, for instance, to fall into addiction, just let's talk substance abuse, can easily crop up whether you were born in a really poor, low-class family, your parents smoked any kind of drugs in the living room, whether you were playing on the floor, wherever, it's like, oh, get you a little Jimmy away from the torch, you pick up your light bulb, whatever, right? And sometimes those children are the ones put in the position to see from within the household with divine eyes, and to grow up and not hate their parents for it, not want to be like that, and just naturally evolve. The tricky part is coming back around and how do we help our family. But of course, in most cases, we see that when you grow up in a family like that, then you will gain the same kind of habits. This also goes for whether you grew up in a great family, and for instance, your mother gave you, and your parents gave you all the love you needed. Your dad played ball with you every weekend, supported you at all your games. Your mother helped you with your homework. They bought you your first car. You had everything you needed. But then the thing you needed was the thing you couldn't get, which was this divine extra that comes from freedom, and can easily also, especially since drugs cost a lot of money, that's what they say, can easily also drive somebody into substance abuse. No matter whether you grew up around it or not. And one great stigma in the world is chemicals. When most of the chemicals are given and were by the system around us and readily available. Somebody in everybody's family smokes and drinks. If you got money, you can stand outside a place and somebody will buy you some booze, even if you're not old enough, whatever. Nowadays, it's easy to get pot. Everybody gets speed. All you gotta do is go to the doctor. Everybody talks about their coffee. There's no difference. I mean, there's not knocking on coffee or anything. But still, hey, you got to wake up in the morning and you had to have your crack first thing in order to get your day going, right? Okay. So we're all equal here. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Had to take your 1-a-day vitamin every morning, otherwise you're gonna lose your shit. That's might as well call that your morning crack, right? It's challenging to turn that around for each of us as to what that morning crack looks like. Or when we want to break, do we go eat a box of ho-hos, or how to turn that around into not needing to consume something and reversing the process into self-loving things that might require more effort, but everything's built backwards and inside out. And so if you get something for your efforts, in some ways, one could see that through divine laws, um, you're already been paid. So, but if, for instance, so for your morning crack, instead of having coffee, a tea, or whatever, you went for a 20-minute jog, that's going to pay you back a lot more than that cup of coffee. A cup of coffee is not going to pay you anything. And your body's going to come to rely on it. And that 20-minute worth of exercise is going to open you up, also calm you down, and give you more, even though you spent that up front for no cost, for no gains. Ain't that weird? I'm the slowest one in the pack, so if I'm saying it, I'm talking out my ass straightforward. You got to talk about the truth before you can get there, because you had to have it in mind to begin with. Those that are afraid to speak are afraid that somebody's going to hold them against it. What they're talking about. There ain't nobody holding nobody against anything. There's nothing against anybody. What we want is to be able to hold ourselves accountable. And if we can't speak our ideals as the fool and then be working towards them, even if it takes another 10 years, regardless of what anybody says, then you weren't trying to be a leader. You weren't being a leader. You are not following. You know, who are you following? Who are you leading? What are you talking about? If you're not basically chewing your own ass the whole way, right? Well, we got the devil in reverse on the bottom. I saw somebody's reading the other day. She probably didn't even notice. She was having the whole conversation just like this. The devil card just like, it's right there. It's funny. We'll just stop there with these for now. I'd like to pull up a little guidance here, just briefly. You never have too much information on the spot, you know. Right. This is good guidance from above for this. So we have the Page of Swords in reverse. See, the message we're receiving this morning is inside out, in a sense. He's talking about the dangers and fixing, asking divine help. So the Page of Swords, Usually stands for authority and overseeing and Secret Service vigilance. It's the spying card and so on. But this is asking for us to be humble. And being humble also has to do with letting go of the things that help us get to the Most High a little bit faster. Or so we think, right? Since this is our mind card, which getting high in one way, I think is very much is a Page of Swords kind of card. And in a sense, one could see it almost like looking under the divine skirt, spying. Let's see what you got up in there. Oh, I see, right? But, so this has to do with, normally, with sickness and unforeseen things. But I'm saying that she's asking for the mind to be humble and subservient and to learn patience. And just like I said, that 3 of Swords is just like that 29 card, that constant pitfalls. Look on the body, who we got? We got straightforward the addiction card, right? The emotional suffering and pain card. That the healing has to start here. Whether one's masculine or feminine, we're all children of the universe. There's only one family, and everyone's in it. That's why they had to make America, to honor the divine in a metaphorical truth on the ground. Period. We're just taking our time today. Right, so she's just asking each of us to try to be more humble with our wants and needs and our swords. So we got the Page of Swords with 3 swords in the heart. I mean, but he's reversed. So, asking us to put down our weapons. It's challenging, right? Because we have Joan of Arc with her hand on her sword. Has the Queen of Swords. And Page is upside down to serve. That's what she seems to be saying. And then for the Spirit card, we have the Hanged Man. Asking us to spend more time with our feelings, with our unagreeable, with our disagreeing feelings, to try to transmute them into something better. If nothing else, to train ourselves like a dang dog. Well, you want to go smoke that bowl? It doesn't matter you went to work and you made dinner for the kids and whatever you could come up with. Did laundry. Okay. What did you do out of the kindness of your heart for us first? I guess is what she's asking me to say right now. Something creative, something loving, something who's only giving for the sake of giving. That's what we're doing right now. I don't plan on getting high later, but just saying. I don't know if I could ever come down. Huh, that's 312, 15. The tenth house of career. It's the first one that threw itself out. We're asking for some signs. You got a rainbow, and a circle around an island where the mountain is mirrored above and below, as is the rainbow. Talks about destiny, career, and where we're going with this journey. Oh, pardon me. I've had some weird sleep cycles lately. Oh, yeah. So what have I been up to lately? I've been doing community service for, whether asked or not, whenever spirit calls to me. I've helped a family clean their basement, and perfect. What the? Well, let me finish what I was saying. And so one of the things I've noticed in this issue with the familial mother line is that more often than not, people with damage to their heart space due to aspects of this, they tend to be very mind focused. Games, building order in a mental sense. The thinking about order, but not living in it. They all tend to have very messy houses. And most people can't accept anybody that has a messy house if they don't. Those people will be shunned immediately. Well, we don't treat anybody different because we're all one family. So, I helped one family clean up a bunch. And then yesterday morning, I was called to go help another friend of mine, just out of the blue. Showed up with trash bags. Helped him out a little bit. Right now, we're going through a period of rebirth cycle in the universe that I've noticed is affecting everyone. Last weekend, one of those families had a miscarriage, and that's very unfortunate. In the other family, they lost a cat yesterday morning. One of the people's getting evicted, or their lease is ending, and not sure where my friend is going to go. And that's one of the things I want to talk about in this conversation is this societal question of all the things that I've said or shared one way or another with this age of Aquarius, and how each person has to pick themselves up by their bootstraps. I mean, the system's there to take care of us even when we're down, in some fashion or another, if you put all your efforts towards evolution. There's an issue with what do we do with those that keep falling through the bottom? They can't pick themselves up. What's the next layer deep of the arc? How are we going to pick up those that are being crushed and abandoned in the corner, that are not strong enough? If we're all one family, it poses the equal question of they need to be helped and picked up somehow. In some ways, this has become the online spiritual community. It's been the only thing here to guide those people, but only once they can tune in and maybe have the resources of a Wi-Fi connection or know where to go, and are prepared to focus on those things while they're worried about eating or where they're going to live. And it's a lot easier just to want to run to any kind of bottle that you can shove yourself in until it's over, one way or another. I see it pretty often. I find it very disheartening and not knowing how society is going to solve this part, and knowing that you can pick someone up as many times as whatever, and but as soon as they're out of in another crib, you could say, and have their freedom, it'll just keep devolving the same way. But then we can't just lock everybody up and go, hey, they're all crazy. So this is an aspect that I've been thinking about for a long time, because the universe always brings me people that need the help. But a lot of times, in my presence, it turns people like that sour very fast because they both admire me somehow. At the same time, it makes them feel contempt and hate me as the only thing worth controlling or the only beautiful thing worth destroying. So, I don't know what we're going to do about that. So, we got the South Node, ironically, has this dragon around it as our planet today, which is about karma and aspects of the family. As in Indian Vedic astrology, Shani Dev is the ruler of the South Node, and he is the wounded Sagittarius form of aspect of our ego, that even as wounded as he could be by his own father, the sun god, and disrespected maybe by the other gods or whatever because he's the N word, then he still picks up the family. He doesn't bitch out, even though he's crippled. He's black. He's not supposed to be black. He got cooked by his father upon his father seeing him. But his big brother's death, Yama. So who are you gonna mess with? Like, yeah. Look, it's the crippled god. Yeah, but his dad is God and his brother's death. So, and he's the only one that cares about everybody. So I wouldn't fuck with him if I were you. He's still a god. And he's still got some goddamn good powers. And if he doesn't have any, at least he's got a good head on his shoulders. So we got the South Node. And Scorpio coming right up in the 10th house. Remember your extraordinary, or remember the extraordinary power of prayer, your destiny. Reconsider the highest and lowest aspects of where you're going. Now is not the time to control the situation and your career. It's time to flow with balance. This is very much, and see, the Hanged Man was the third card. We had the Page of Swords reversed. It's a time of processing. Like I said, it's a time of death and rebirth. Might be many that are losing family members during this time, pets, um, having to change their life situations. So right now is since the first, uh, at least until the 6th, if not till later in the month. Right now is a time of deep reverence. Um, I believe it's like a drawn out funeral of love and understanding. With each thing that we lose, the more we gain. You could say, just use an example, like I love that cat, but the moment that cat's gone, all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, I'm putting so much onto that cat. I was running away from myself when I was saying, oh yeah, well, I'm taking care of the cats. That's good enough. As long as the cat got stuff to eat. Yeah, but where are you looking at yourself? Or, wow, I was wasting money every day. Not wasted, but just like from a future aspect of, well, now I don't have to spend the money. How about that? If I don't get another pet to replace this one, especially right away, which in a sense, not to disrespect anyone, is, I believe, a cowardly act of afraid to face one's emotions and one's solitude, to actually be fully prepared to lead themselves and others, that whenever pets die, it is a good time to be without pets. Because I love the hell out of my girls, but oh my God, my life would have been so much easier if I didn't have them. But I wasn't going to abandon them for nothing. There was months that I wouldn't, that they had food to eat the whole time. That I spend all my money that I would get on that first. Because what am I going to spend on myself? Well, first thing, I'm going to get some cigarettes. You can get whatever I need, starting with stupid stuff. Because that's every human being that's dealing with the ego. Oh, what do you want? Oh, I just want a coffee, or I just want a cherry Coke. God dang, I just want a freaking steak. When so when some pasta and butter after 5 days without eating, it's like eating steak and shrimp and lobster and chocolate cake. It's all a matter of perspective. But pets are an important part of our development, more so for, I believe, in the younger part of our life. They can serve a very good purpose in older life, but ultimately, I believe, this is my opinion, pets are there to train people, because it forces you to have to put somebody that doesn't contribute before yourself, before everybody, which also shows you, hey, we didn't have money for this thing that the family needed, but cat never ran out of food. The dog didn't go without food. What's your point? So who are we taking care of here? Are we just feeding the birds, or do we have a family we taking care of the people, is like what the point I'm trying to get across is. Pets are a divine limitation because God uses their eyes innocently and honestly, and whether or not that animal ever speaks up about anything that they've seen, God was right there, watching everything you had to say and everything you did for every moment that animal was around. Whether the animal believed it was right or wrong because of how it was trained, God was right there taking note. So if you want God in your house, will make you watching you and babysitting you. You're not babysitting that dog. That dog's babysitting you. Dogs are there to train humans and how to better be efficient with themselves. That might be a challenging aspect to believe, but I don't believe so. In older age, yeah. I mean, pets are an important and amazing, beautiful aspect of life. But so easily, they become exactly like an addiction that you can't let go of because you have an excuse. It's an excuse. It very much can be and suits that purpose for the ego to act like it's taking more responsibility when it's taking less. Acting like it's got a full and loving heart, but its full and loving heart is going, hey, well, I got my dog and he's in his yard. He's chained to his post and he's got his food. And so everybody else can fuck off because I am a dad and I'm the best dad. And so, what are you going to say, huh? Your kids, they don't even know where their goddamn house is. They're all up in everybody's yard. Hell, half the time they're without. They didn't even come home for dinner. Whether they want to be fed or not, it doesn't really matter. Your kids are out of control. Look, see, I'm a man. Right? Pets are a form of how we can develop security and reveal insecurity in learning about healing this divine familial mother line. Because, yeah, we have to care for the animals too. But we can't use them as an excuse to run away from ourselves, which, in the case of those who collect animals that have to save everything that's wounded or doesn't look like have a home, see, this is a projection of an inner insecurity that can be solved at that point rather than after you get that animal and then you get another animal and you get the next animal and you get the next animal. It's all trying to replace the inner child inside of you that is missing. And the love that you wanted to give and receive that you're crimping down into a little box, into a litter box, let's say. When that's just an easy way out, and that ain't a way out at all, and that ain't easy. So, there's 222. A way that it can be looked at that animals are an aspect of dividing that society has used upon us to divide the mind, body, and soul of people. Especially knowing that once you have one, then the odds are you're not just gonna be like, yeah, I didn't like that one. I just kick him out in the street. Though a lot of people do that with animals. Some people do that with people. Just pick them up. So like, hey, this one looks cute and fuzzy. Oh, I peed on the carpet. Yeah, beat him. Rub his nose in it. Throw him outside. if he's still there in the morning, I guess we'll let him in, feed him, make him feel like we're taking care of him. It's weird. Human psychology is bonkers because it's so straightforward and it's so not. Because of this concept of the mind has to look at itself, looking at itself, to look at itself, and it's what it can't see that is actually usually the most important part. Here, let's get a couple of ancestors. Right. She's asking us not to go wild, to release the wild within. Minus going wild, right? Release it within. Passionate spirit. And we're the high priest. Intend and create. So right now, since we're going through a period of rebirth and a death cycle where things are being put away so that the energy that we've been putting into things and taking care of day to day, the loss is painful. Regardless, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be stupid. It could be like you have a worry stone, it's that dumb. You get I don't know, a favorite ring and it went missing. And now all day long, oh, the hell, I thought I had my, or you go to reach to take it off to go do the dishes or something. It's not there. And all of a sudden there's this internal chaos for no reason. But that energy has to be focused into what we want or towards an intention of what we want. Rather than, well, I'll just go get another ring. Ah, there, solved the problem. Yeah, now we can continue running away from ourselves, right? And this is a truth that maturity brings all of us as a lesson. So we have unleash the wild within, not go hog wild, and use it to intend and create with the high priestess. Because I don't have any of my good paints, I'm really low on supplies and everything. And I don't have the setup I used to have. I haven't been able to paint in a long time and moving and everything. But I really like to paint something today. I have about 150 paintings. They're all dated, time stamped, serial numbered, photographed, and ready for an art gallery. But I don't want to sell any paintings until I have I figure out how to curate this, how to get my work together, being an unknown painter, and having these works displayed together, and selling them. I'd like to use some of the money for several different things I got in mind. I personally, on my birthday, made up with my family, my mother. Also, speaking of healing the familial mother line, and work from the bottom up. to develop whatever this is to lift ourselves up by our bootstraps and our family as well, both with boundaries and sovereignty, and also with compassion and kindness, in firm balance. Is definitely a challenge for middle life, especially as our parents begin to get older. Whatever differences there are, some of them we realize there's nothing we can do to change somebody. At the same time, we can't let anybody walk all over us, so no matter how old they are. It doesn't matter what title they claim. When it comes down to it, everyone's just a person. And we're all part of the same family called people, human beings, as it were. And we're going to have to work it out together. And ultimately, nobody can truly be left behind unless they abandon themselves and refuse to start walking back towards everyone else if that wasn't their mode of operation to begin with. Let's get one more. And a couple emotions, why not? One of my jobs is apparently, it's everyone's job in a way, but one of my particular and specific divine jobs was to collect all the negative karma and aspects from all over the world in order to sum it up in one thimble and on one needle and place it right there for every MFI on this planet to have a focal point for the ego and something to help focus wherever their mind is at, possibly in the mind maze, to possibly speed up the process somehow. And so that has been an important duty of mine. It's a thankless job. But hey, it's not about money, I guess. I retract the I guess off of that. It's not about money. We have 17 following. From the source, creating success. Constancy bears fruit, no mistake. Honor the flow of energy from source to fulfillment and align your actions to it, allowing your ideal outcome to meld with the natural current. Following may then be an effortless flow of supportive synchronicities. That's the sound of that. Moving with the creative process is never a mistake. How are things flowing and how can you move with them? Where are you being nudged and guided? Transformation, creativity, and in the flow of change without change. Seems to be the modes of thought that have been coming up in all of the readings that I've seen lately, in my own personal ones. Okay. A couple motions here. We'll close this out. Pull some out of the middle of the deck here. We got 1, 3. We got 2 red and a green. But 2 reds makes a green. And 2 greens would make a red light special. I don't know. We got Audacity. That one was actually the top card for the second one this morning. I noticed the image when you click on it, it doesn't bring up the full image because I cropped it. Oh well. We have Audacity. If you won't be a fool, you cannot become a master. Willingness to take risks. Revolutionary sentiment. Challenge of convention. Aries and Cancer. Audacity. We have acceptance. Beggars can't be choosers. Assent to the reality of a situation. Relinquishing need to control and to direct. Right, if we're begging for one thing, then that's the thing you'll get, if you get anything at all. That's the true meaning behind, I believe, beggars can't be choosers. Because if you're begging, well, you have to be asking for something in particular, which means the universe will remove everything else that you could be receiving instead. So it's best to not know what to need, ultimately. We got Virgo and Libra. And Virgo's the big one right now in the skies. Everything's got a bow and an arrow on it between there and Taurus. Then we have endurance. Speaking of Taurus, this one's Taurus and Gemini. Endurance. What was hard to bear is so sweet to recall, right? Remember that one time we got the 4-wheeler stuck and tried to pull it out of the front end, just boom, right. The whole engine was in the swamp. We had to call the tow truck. The tow truck got stuck. Then they had to pull in a semi and had to have ropes strapped through the trees and use them as pulleys. And yeah, it was hell though when we were there. But oh, it's so funny telling the story over, right? The ability to withstand hardships or adversity, to sustain lengthy effort. Right. Don't give up. Well, thank you, Joan of Arc. I feel like the way this looks, there should be one more. Who we got? Ooh, we got a black one. Patience. God dang it. I hate that freaking word. I'm so sick of it. If you tell me to be patient one more time, oh, I'm going to just have to be a little bit more patient with you. Show you patience. There's some duct tape. Nope, let me put it on. The only way out is through. I love the way that this model looks on this one. This one has no signs. There's no signs. It's patience. What are you waiting for? Who the fuck knows? Just wait. It's coming. What? I don't know. Just wait. You'll see. Patience. Object. Permanence. Forbearance. Under strain. Delayed gratification. Oh my God. Can you take it? Just hearing those words. So painful, isn't it? None of us can wait, even if we don't know what we're waiting for. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining me this morning, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Maybe I'll be back later. We'll see.